to another episode of the How to CEO show. I'm your host, Yvonne Newlands. In this show, we're going to be discussing how to get executive buy-in. When you became a CEO, the world changed. You can either build a billion-dollar company or you can crash and burn. We're here to give you the knowledge, advice, skills, and the expertise to build a billion-dollar company. I'm delighted to be joined by Yvonne Newlands. Yes, she is my wife. She is a manager. She's a director of strategy at Agilent Technologies. She has worked for Intel, for Apple, for EY, for Accenture. Now she works for Agilent. Clearly much more talented than I am, ever will be. She is used to working in big companies and big consultancies. I have a lot of startup experience. And in this show, I say we're going to be looking at how to get executive management buy-in. Yvonne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, when you're thinking about getting executive buy-in, how do you do that?
It's interesting how I do it a little bit differently. And when I was part of the consulting firm, so advisor to the companies, and I would need to get the buy-ins from the clients,
Yep.
The executives, and also being here with Agilent, so I need to get executive buy-in from within the company. So I think slightly kind of different approaches, but I think overall you need to have a personal connection
Right.
with a person and really understand the problems, the pain points they're experiencing, and what they want to achieve, be it their personal goals as well as the business goals. Really building kind of that knowledge and awareness around that. And ultimately, when you want to get buy-in from them on the proposal you're putting together, you want them to feel like that's their proposal as well. So getting them to say yes to the strategies, and I think that's really important.
So, how do you get them? Is it a question of like the movies "Sell Me This Pen," or is it how do you get them to open up about their goals and their needs? Like that's a good starting point.
Right. So first, I was do a little bit study myself. Right. So the person you probably have not met before, and I want to understand their roles and responsibilities a little bit. So by talking to other people that has similar background, so kind of have a little bit sort of pre-study, pre-conversation study before I talk to this person. And usually during the first meeting, I will ask the person a lot of questions, get them to talk about their problems, their business problems, the things that keep them awake at night, things that on their priority list, things that they've been trying to figure out, but haven't got a chance to get around. So really get them to open up and talk about their things, and in a way, kind of reshape how you want to approach it.
Right. And then how do you go about creating a framework that's easy to communicate that they can easily say yes to?
And I think there's no kind of easy one-click solution. I think a lot of times you need to build the solution together. So co-creation. One example I have, I think the perfect example is how we approach the house renovation project.
Okay.
Right? So when I kind of left you out a little bit and starting to kind of put together this blueprint and by myself, I think that definitely upset you because you said, why am I not being part of the process? Why am I only show the end product? This is not what we're looking for. So you want to be part of the conversation, just fine tuning the problem statement and come up with the the solution through brainstorming, right? So I think that's how you can create the final product, which is the recommended blueprint or recommended approach to the problems.
How do you get busy executives to share their time in order to create a blueprint?
I think it's important to also have a sponsor, right? So, my experience, I'm lucky enough to work directly with the senior VP of the company. So he and I talk about what we want to achieve, and he gave me the sponsorship I was looking for. I remember very clearly at the staff meeting, he told all his direct reports that Yvonne is launching this new plan. Please work with her
Right.
to talk to her about this plan and work it out. I think you need that executive sponsor that help you through the process, not just giving you guidance, but also removing the roadblocks and giving you that the support that you need to move this forward.
I'm sure you know had this experience yourself, but speaking, having seen others have it, where does it go wrong when trying to get executive buy-in?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times when we try to kind of create something on our own
Right.
without getting those people involved, I think that one of the biggest pitfalls because you think that's the problem you want to solve for, but a lot of times there are other hidden things that are on the executive's agenda that that person wanted to look into. I think by having more of a direct conversation, you will uncover these problems, and that it will help you shape your strategies a lot better. And also, I think oftentimes getting the executive buy-in is just timely communication on the progress, on any kind of the roadblocks you have encountered that you really need their help to remove the roadblocks, and also getting their team's support and support as well. So not just the executive level, but a couple layers down, how they can get involved in this effort and how they also see the value of doing it.
And what about the theoretical scenario where an executive comes at a problem and you just think their approach to solving the problem is wrong? I don't know about, like, not necessarily within the current company, within the broader spectrum. When the perhaps the executive has had a history that has worked in one solution, but probably won't work in the solution. How do you help them see a bigger solution?
Yeah, it's a good question because a lot of times, I personally also encounter similar
Yeah.
situations where I think their solutions will not work, right? Or they
Right.
think things very differently. I think one is accepting that we have different perspective. I think that's
Yeah.
fine, and also can lay out different options, right?
Right.
And in a way, the options I lay out, I would articulate kind of pros and cons, and also make it more relatable, not just kind of high level fluffy stuff, but also what's the impact what's the impact going to be on the bottom line? What's the impact going to be on other operational metrics or financial metrics to make it more real for the person to look at? Really kind of putting together, in a way, the business case, right? To understand the ROI and also and providing kind of the bigger picture in terms of how it will connect to other
Yeah.
pieces of the strategies. I mean, by presenting this kind of more complete picture to that person, hopefully that person can internalize it and change his or her perspective. But I think we're always going to be cases where people holding different point of views, and people holding different perspective on things. And towards the end, it's going to be a person, a top level executive that can make the decision, right? And also depends on the organization. If it's organization, a consensus driven organization, you may have to all sit down and lay out everyone's kind of pros and cons to this approach and to talk it out and come to a decision. If there's one person that can make the decision, then we just need that person to decide. So it's definitely not going to be a very straightforward process, but that's typically how it can be done.
And so and where do you feel like external consultants fit into this? So I know I do consultancy for companies. I know that I've often been brought in as there is uncertainty, disagreement, they're looking for an external opinion. I've been brought in to be that external opinion. What's your thoughts on that from external consultants coming in to help change things and change opinion?
Right. I think the common theme is a lot of times consultants go in and just bring a kind of one size fits all kind of playbook. That would not cut it, because customers and clients, they would come back to you say, our business is different, right?
Yeah.
So I think rather than bring a playbook to solve the problem, I think start with questions, start with better understanding of the business. I think the clients know their business better than you do. So really from there, try to connect dots on what the things that could be better, and bringing some examples and kind of case studies from external people. But that, I think, again, that's just for reference.
Yeah.
It's for inspiration.
Right.
It's not something, we're not saying, oh, you need to follow that.
Yeah.
100%. I think it's just really to spark people's interest and curiosity how they can do things a little bit differently. So I think I would say listening is really important.
Yes.
Be a better listener, but not just listen, but also be able to connect the dots and synthesize the things that you have heard, and then play it back to them. And when you're creating approach with them and really taking into account sort of their way of working, right? Some of the companies, they want to be a little bit more hands-on. So maybe you can provide a framework and then let them run the execution piece. And some companies, maybe they need a little bit kind of hand-holding end to end, and they do it a little differently.
Excellent. Some great advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Murray Newlands. My guest has been Yvonne Newlands. Thank you very much for listening to the How to CEO show, and see you next time.
See you next time.